Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's 4+1 MPH info session. I'm Amanda Dye from Beyond Barnard, and I'm excited to introduce my colleague, Ina Rodriguez from the Mailman School of Public Health. Ina,
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I'm Ina Rodriguez. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment here at Columbia Public Health. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Charles Ariano, Director of Financial Aid. So today you're here, sorry, from the both of us about our program. So to get us started, what is public health? Public health is the science and art of protecting and improving the health of populations through education, promotion of healthy lifestyles, and research for disease and injury prevention. So a good example of public health in action is how in the last 100 years, we've increased life expectancy by 40 years, thanks to things like health promotion, vaccines. Also, with policy, the reason why we all have to wear seatbelts when we're driving is due to public health policy laws. So just a little background on public health, just in case you were wondering. And when it comes to our school, we were founded in 1922, so we have over 100 years educating public health professionals. We currently have 5 different degrees. We offer a Master's of Public Health, Master's of Healthcare Administration, Master's of Science, a PhD, and a DRPH. When you apply to our program, you do apply to a specific department. The departments that we offer are biostatistics, environmental health sciences, epidemiology, health policy and management, population and family health, and socio-medical sciences. It's important to note that unfortunately, biostatistics is not available for 4+1 Barnard students. Just because of the courses that they are required to take, it wouldn't work with the 4+1 program. So if you are interested in biostatistics specifically, I highly recommend our 2-year MPH instead, which I'll go over as well. And since I mentioned that you apply to a specific department, this is the list from left to right of departments that we offer. We have biostatistics, so focusing on big data, environmental health science, focusing on how like toxins can influence our health outcomes, toxins in the air that we breathe, or maybe climate change. Epidemiology, studying the patterns of illnesses and diseases. Health policy and management, this is the political side, or the policy side, I should say, of the healthcare system, but also the business side of the healthcare system. We also have population and family health. These students are interested in maternal health, children's health, sexual reproductive health, for example, community health, and then socio-medical sciences. They're dedicated in understanding how social conditions, social factors can influence our health outcomes. Things like your sexuality, your gender, your socioeconomic class, for example. So that's just an overview of the departments. I hope that gives you a sense of which one you would be applying into based on your interest. If not, I'm happy to chat about which one you should apply to. Just remember, biostatistics is not available for the 4+1 for Barnard students. And this is the 4+1 2-year overview. Basically, your senior year, the fall semester of your senior year, you will come to Columbia Mailman to complete our core curriculum. You will not be taking classes at Barnard. You would just be doing the core curriculum at Mailman. Then in the spring semester, that's when you will return to Barnard to complete your degree requirements. You'll graduate, you'll get your bachelor's. Then the following fall, that's when you return to Columbia Mailman to finish your requirements towards your MPH. So that we call your +1 year. And I mentioned you do the core curriculum first. This is what that core curriculum looks like. This is what you're completing the fall semester of your senior year. The core curriculum, as you notice, is composed of 6 different studios. And under the studios, there's modules. So there's 16 different modules. Look at it as taking 16 different classes that semester, but don't worry, it's not all at once. They build on one another. So for example, you'll be taking history of public health with quantitative foundations and social determinants of health. And then you'll go into ethics of public health. You'll always have that quantitative foundations and the biological basis of public health. So they come in and out at different portions throughout the semester, and they build upon one another. It's a very collaborative and interdisciplinary semester. Every MPH student has to take it. Doesn't matter if you're 4+1 or accelerated or the 2 years. So you can expect to be in a classroom of about 125 to 150 students when you're in the core curriculum. I did mention that if you were interested in biostats, I highly recommend the 2-year full-time instead. And this is what the 2-year program looks like. As you can see, it is identical to the 4+1. In that 4+1, when you come back to us, you are enrolled in your disciplines, as your department courses. You're also enrolled in leadership and integration of science and practice, and you could be a practical. When you look at the 2-year program, is exactly the same. Students start with the core curriculum. They're enrolled in integration of science practice, enrolled in their discipline and leadership, complete a practicum in the summer. But when they come back for year 2, that's when they're completing their certificate. So that is the biggest difference between both programs, is that the 2-year full-time gives you the opportunity to complete that certificate. This is the list of certificates that we offer. We have over 15 of them that you could choose from. And you don't need to know your certificate at the time of application. You only need to know your department. So if you're looking at this list and you see something that's really interesting to you, you might want to do the 2-year program instead. For example, if you're interested in global health, we don't have a global health department, but we have a global health certificate. Students in the global health certificate are required to go to a low-income country for their practicum. If that's something that you know for sure you want to do during your graduate program, the 2-year program is a better fit for you. That's not to say that you're not exposed to all these different areas of public health in the 4+1 program. Also, for your practicum, you can go international if you like, even in the 4+1 program. I just like to show you the full list of certificates so that you see what other options are out there. I said that you're enrolled in leadership, and basically this is a professional degree. So we do teach you leadership skills so that when you leave, you have the knowledge and practical skills to form effective working relationships and manage teams in the workplace. You're also enrolled in integration of science and practice. As a reminder, in the core curriculum, you'll be with about 125 to 150 students, but in integration of science and practice, we break you down into smaller groups of about 15 to 20 students, and you're putting into practice everything that you're learning in the core curriculum. It's a case-based course. You're looking at different case studies and just discussing the benefits and of certain bands, for example. I mentioned as well that a requirement is a practicum, and your practicum is like an internship. This is where you're getting that hands-on experience outside of the classroom for 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your department. It could be paid, unpaid, remote, or in person. The possibilities are truly endless. We have our own field practice team that will help you find practicum, and also your department will support you in finding a practicum. There's never been a time that a student wasn't able to find anything, so don't worry there. While it's up to you to obtain that practicum, you do have support in place. We have over 20 student clubs, and some of these are affinity-based, public health-based, or career-based. But basically, these are great to give you that leadership experience, but also so that you build community once you're on our campus. At the bottom, you can see some examples of the student clubs that we currently offer. And we actually advise students to let us know if there's a club that they think we should start, and we will help you get that started. We do offer housing. So not while you're in that core curriculum year, you would be at Barnard housing if you're there, but for when you come back for that year to complete your MPH, we do offer housing. Priority is given to international students, then students coming from outside of the tri-state area, and then tri-state area folks. So New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We do have a meal plan available for those that are in housing. We also offer off-campus housing support, but there you're looking at actual New York City rent, to be honest. So hopefully you could all get on-campus housing, but it is pretty competitive. We have an amazing career service team. Every Monday, our students do get an email from career services letting them know about upcoming opportunities, either internship or career fairs that they can attend. They also offer resume reviews, mock interviews, and salary negotiations. When folks ask us what sets us apart, and aside from the amazing research that we have and the faculty members, I think it's that alumni network that we have. We have a really strong alumni network. We have something called Mailman Connect, where our current students are able to connect with alumni from the program, either for informational interviews, for advice, or more importantly, there's a job board on there where alumni are posting job opportunities specifically for Mailman students. I attended an alumni event a few months ago where someone spoke and she said she's working at Pfizer now in New York. And in the Pfizer office in New York, there's over 25 Mailman employees. So we have a very strong team there. And they actually come over the fall and invite a few students to go over to Pfizer and give a tour and give talks and stuff. So again, strong alumni network. We also host networking mixers for current students and alumni. And we have 2 career fairs, one virtual, one in person, where over 70 employers come to campus. And this just shows you how good of a job the career service team is doing. This is from the class of 2024. I won't have the data from 2025 until early spring, but basically 88% were already employed 6 months after application. 6% 6 months after graduation. 6% decided to get a second degree, so either a second master's or a doctoral degree, and only 4% were still seeking. So they're doing a really good job. And then these are the different sectors. So the majority do stay within the hospital healthcare system, but you could branch out into consulting firms, government work, nonprofit organizations, even tech companies. Tech is a growing field right now in public health. One of our alums was involved in the development of the health app on the iPhone. So lots of cool things going on in that field, but just about anywhere. And then the majority do stay within the tri-state area, but you could branch out anywhere with this degree. And this is just an example of some of the employers that have hired our grads and that actually attend our career fairs. So now that I've told you about the 4+1 program, now you probably want to apply, hopefully. So the first thing you have to do is talk to your advisor, make sure that you have sufficient credits and that this program is feasible for you, that you could still graduate on time for Barnard. For prerequisites, you could come from any area of study. Public health is everything was our slogan for our centennial. So any background, you could still be successful in public health. For Barnard students, Calculus 1 is a requirement. That requirement could be fulfilled through AP credit, or if you did Calculus 1 at Barnard or at Columbia for a letter grade or a transfer credit. Equivalent to Calculus 1, that satisfies the grade. Unfortunately, taking it for a grade of P, that does not satisfy that requirement. If you are interested in applying to environmental health science, you must complete at least 1 year of biology or chemistry prior to applying. And you must also have a 3.5 minimum GPA. Overall, our admissions process is very holistic. We usually don't have a GPA cutoff, but for the 4+1 program, we do, because when you start with that core curriculum, it is a lot. It's very quantitative heavy. So they just want to make sure that you're able to handle the program that first semester. And for the application, the requirements, you must submit the Columbia 4+1 application. You also submit a 500-word statement of purpose. On the statement of purpose, don't just say why Columbia Mailman, or don't just answer why Columbia Mailman. Dig deeper there. Tell us your personal public health story. What made you interested in public health? What are your career goals? How is the 4+1 program the perfect opportunity to help you accomplish these goals that you've set for yourself? You want to get specific. Maybe it's the fact that you get to start working towards your master's while you're still in your bachelor's. So you'll graduate a little earlier from your master's in October. So you'll get out in the workforce a little earlier, right? If that's what's interesting to you. Or maybe it's the core curriculum that's very interdisciplinary off the bat, exposing you to all these different areas of public health before you even dig into your department of interest, right? Whatever it is, just get specific within those 500 words. You must also submit 3 letters of recommendation. Make sure it's from faculty members that know you well, could speak to your ability to be prepared for a graduate program, and can speak about your leadership ability. You must also submit an internal form from your advisor. You do not need to submit GRE scores at all. The deadline to apply is December 1st. I got this right from the Barnard website, but I still think it's so helpful in understanding the timeline for you all. So your junior year, September of your junior year, that's usually when we have we open up the application for the 4+1 program. You want to apply by December 1st. That's the final deadline. Around mid-December, Barnard will conduct interviews with select candidates. And then they'll let us know because in January, the departments will start reviewing your applications so that between January and April, hopefully you all start receiving your acceptance letters from us. Then that August, we will work with you. Those that have been admitted will work with you in registering you so that you could start the core curriculum that fall. In the spring, you'll go right back to Barnard to complete your requirements. And then that following fall, you begin that +1 year with Columbia Mailman. I hope that was kind of easy to understand that timeline. Amanda, is there anything about the application requirements that I may have missed?
I think you got all the main points, and the link to the application is on the Barnard 4+1 page for Mailman, as well as the link to our internal course planning form. And you're very welcome, anyone out there, to reach out to us if you have questions, us at Beyond Barnard.
Thank you, Amanda. Now I'll pass it on to my colleague, Charles, who will go into the financial aid aspect.
Thank you, Ina. And so we're going to discuss here the cost of attendance and then the types of financial aid that you may be eligible for upon applying to the program. Next slide, Ina. So in terms of the cost of the program, so you are completing the +1 portion of your 4+1 program at an accelerated pace. So as such, you are charged at the accelerated pace, which is currently $76,264. All students get charged a one-time document fee, which is what allows you to gather either any employment verification letters, transcript letters, enrollment letters. If you need any deferment forms for any previous loans, this is the fee that covers that. You are also charged a computer network fee, which gives you access to the medical campus network, IT services, and also what goes on to create your Columbia Mailman version of your email address. The student activity fee, which is also charged on a per semester basis. This is what goes towards any symposiums, workshops, graduation preparation, anything that allows you to participate in any student groups is covered by this cost. We also have the health service fee and the health insurance. So these are two fees that go hand in hand, where one covers the expense of the services. If you do have health insurance from your parents, you are able to waive the health insurance, but you are not able to waive the health service fee, as every student who attends our program is responsible for covering the health service fee. Now, the tuition that is present now may not be what it is when you are matriculating with us, as typically tuition does increase between 3 to 4% every year. So currently the total anticipated cost for tuition and fees is a little under $84,000. And so the entire cost of attendance, which includes billable items such as tuition and fees, and non-billable items that you may or may not use, such as food and housing, personal expenses, transportation, that the totality of that is about $112,000. So it may be a little bit more down the line if and when you apply to our program. Next slide. So now going over the institutional aid that we offer as a program. So all students who apply to our program, whether it's to the 2-year MPH, the 4+1, our accelerated programs, our MS programs, all students who apply to our program and get admitted into our program are automatically reviewed for our institutional funding resources. We offer academic merit scholarships, which is based on the overall strength of your application in comparison to your peers. This scholarship generally ranges anywhere between $20,000 per year to 30,000 per year. Because you are part of the 4+1 program and completing the +1 portion of your program, any scholarship that you may be eligible for will be of the 1 year level. So that means that the academic merit scholarship that you would receive if you meet the criteria would be either $20,000 or $30,000 for the year. We also offer need-based aid, which is completely based off your FAFSA. In order to be considered for the need-based grant, you must complete a FAFSA. And so we look to see if you borrowed either a Pell Grant, if you were awarded a Pell Grant fund, or if you borrow direct subsidized loan at the undergraduate level. Your expected family contribution must also fall below $10,000. Now, currently, the FAFSA uses what's called SAI index, but for the purpose of this grant, our financial aid system calculates an expected family contribution, which was what used to be the numerical value that the FAFSA would calculate based off the financial information that you included. The need-based grants is typically $10,000 for the year, but depending on our budget, it could be anywhere from $7,500 for the year to $10,000 for the year. Only domestic students are eligible for the need-based grant consideration because it requires a FAFSA. And again, due to limited funding, we only award one scholarship per student if you meet the criteria. And this is, again, due to our limited funding. We also offer special program scholarships for pathway programs that collaborate with Columbia University. Priority is given to students who participated in the BEST program, primer, or summer public health scholars program. Now, it's not just necessarily relegated to those programs. There are a bunch of other pathway programs that collaborate with Columbia University. However, these three are prioritized since we get the larger portion of applicant pool from these programs. And the award amount for this scholarship would be anywhere between $20,000 or $25,000 for the year. Now, again, I must reiterate, if you meet the criteria for an academic merit scholarship, and you also meet the criteria for a need-based grant, and you also participated in a pathway program, the scholarship award that you will receive will be the higher of the three, which for the purpose of this presentation, it would be the academic merit scholarship because currently that one would be $30,000. Next slide. These are some external sources of funding that may be available to you, and we certainly encourage you to visit these websites and search often. Use search engines, use keywords such as public health or the department that you're interested in, or the field that you're interested in, specific field that you're interested in. And there may also be some financial aid programs that are offered by New York for students who are pursuing the public health degree. One other thing that's not noted in this presentation that students have access to is once you become a student at Columbia Mailman School of Public Health, you also have access to what's called iGrad. iGrad is a financial wellness tool that works in collaboration with Columbia University that offers debt management services, budgeting services, but more importantly, it also serves as a function for you to search for outside sources of scholarships. You can search for scholarships based on your profession, your department, or even amounts. So it's a very useful tool, and it's a tool that you have access to for the duration of your life once you become a Mailman student. Next slide. We also have some employment opportunities that may be available to you as a Columbia Mailman student. We do offer work study. Now, we're very, very limited in what we can offer at the graduate level for not only our program, for most programs in the country. Federal government doesn't necessarily provide a lot of work study opportunities like they do at the undergraduate level. For us, we get budgeted enough to award maybe 30 to 40 students. So because of that, we tend to prioritize students who met the criteria for scholarships or need-based grants, but did not receive any because either they were admitted late, or they completed their FAFSA late, or we just ran out of funding. The maximum that we typically start a student with is $3,000. But that could always be increased throughout the academic year, assuming that we have funding available. There are graduate research assistantship positions that may be available. Typically, these go to doctoral students because they typically come with research experience. But if you do have extensive research experience, I certainly encourage you to visit our website, visit the Department of Interest, and review any faculty members that share your research interest and begin a dialogue with them to see if there's an opportunity there for any research opportunities. We also offer teaching assistantship positions, which are typically awarded to first year or second year students based on your area of study. As long as you have substantial preparation and experience in that field, you may be able to obtain a TA position. You offer part-time assistance to faculty members in instruction and help them with grading and their course administration. And part of the compensation, you may receive some tuition assistance, a stipend, or regular pay, like a regular normal job. Next slide. Lastly, what most students generally use to help offset some of the cost of graduate school is applying for government loans. Now, because of the new big beautiful bill, one big component of the federal direct loan program that will not be available for students anymore will be the Federal Direct Graduate Plus loan. Instead, students will have to apply for private loans to help offset any cost. But before the private loan, by completing a FAFSA, you are able to be reviewed for Federal Direct Unsubsidized Loan. So this is different from the subsidized loan in that there's no need component. At the graduate level, we do not offer Federal Direct subsidized loans. So the entirety of the loans that you will receive would be unsubsidized. And what that means is once the loan is dispersed into your student account, it does start accruing interest based on the amount that you borrow. The maximum that you're eligible for over a 9-month academic period would be $20,500. Currently, the interest rate is about 7.94%. It does remain as a fixed rate throughout the academic year. I'm not sure if after July 1st next year or the previous or the following year after that, what the interest rate will be, but it is set after July 1st. The direct unsubsidized loan does grant students a 6-month grace period after they have graduated from the program. If you were interested, let's say you're not interested in the 4+1 program, and let's say you have extensive experience and you want to apply to, let's say, an MS program. If an MS program provides you a 3-semester calendar academic year, then you are eligible for a little bit extra in unsubsidized loan. I believe it's like $24,667 for a full calendar year program. Next, you have the private loan, which is a credit-approved loan from a private lender such as Chase or Sallie Mae, Citibank, or Discover. The major difference between the private loan and the federal loan is that the private loan requires a hard credit inquiry on your credit score. So typically, you have to have a pretty good credit score to get approved from the private loan and or receive a good rate. Some of the rates for private loans may be variable, some of them may be fixed based on the credit score. There are no origination fees, unlike the Federal Direct Unsubsidized Loan, which does charge a origination fee by the Department of Education. Private loans do not require or rather charge origination fees. For Federal Direct Unsubsidized Loans, you must be registered at least for 6 credits, meaning you must have an enrollment of half-time to be eligible. For private loans, you just need to be registered for at least 1 credit to be eligible to apply for a private loan. Lastly, if you haven't borrowed any federal loans at the undergraduate level, and or if your promissory note has expired, which tends to happen a lot, once you enter the graduate level and you borrow federal government loans, you do have to complete what's called a direct unsubsidized loan master promissory note and a federal direct unsubsidized loan entrance counseling form. These 2 forms are essentially just an acknowledgement that you know that you're borrowing federal government loans for educational purposes. And I think that is it for the financial aid portion.
Yes, thank you, Charles. So now we'll open it up for any questions that you might have, either for admissions or for financial aid. We are hosting an in-person open house on next Wednesday, October 29th at 5:30 p.m. I highly encourage you to attend because you'll get to hear from faculty members, you'll get to hear from current students, but more importantly, you'll get to meet the different departments. So kind of like you'll get to shop around to see what department you're interested in. So you apply to the one that closely matches your interests and your goals.
Hi, I had a question about the practicum.
Yes.
Is it application based, and what would happen if you were not like selected based on the application interest?
Yeah, so you do apply to the different practicums from different organizations. They all have like different things. We also have our own fellowships that you can apply into for your practicum. But there's never been a time someone couldn't find one, right? We have so many partners. We work with so many different agencies. We also are right on the Columbia University Medical Center campus. So we have a lot of faculty members that do also have appointments at the hospital. We have faculty members doing research. So even if there's someone doing research that you're interested in, if you reach out to them and they need support with their research or their lab, you're able to complete your practicum with them.
Ina, do you have a link for registering for the open house?
Yes, I'll drop the link in the chat. And actually, I'll drop this link in the chat. I'm going to drop two. The first one is the in-person open house. So that you can register there. And then the second one is our plan a visit page. This is where you could see any upcoming virtual or in-person events that we're hosting on our plan a visit page. You can also schedule a campus tour or schedule to speak with admissions or financial aid. But we do have virtual department sessions happening this week and next. So feel free to attend any of those to also learn more about your department of interest.
And I've just added the link to our webpage at Beyond Barnard, which has lots of FAQs, the application and matriculation timeline, as well as links to Mailman's application and our internal course completion worksheet. Any other questions for now?
Okay, if any other questions come up, feel free to send us an email at ph-admit@columbia.edu. We'll be happy to help you out, and we look forward to receiving your application, and hopefully we get to meet you if you come to campus next Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your semester, everyone, and good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.